Now we are going to see some cloud computing part, like web service part, that how the distributed system could be helpful for doing the change and evolution mining. So how we can do change mining and evolution mining over those distributed system. This was the paper being published at IEEE Transaction on Engineering Management. It is one of the oldest engineering journal in the world, the 68th volume that was being in which the paper was being published. This is like we'll first discuss about the what service evolution analytics, then change mining of two different versions, service change classifier, then evolution mining of version series, service evolution matrix, and then the experiment discussion. So, what is service evolution analytics? So, basically, we find that service evolution analytics is been studying of the evolution of various web services or cloud services and doing the analysis over them. So, for that, we propose two different techniques. We propose two different techniques for doing the service evolution analytics. First one is a service change classifier algorithm is being assigned with some change level that could actually help you to identify some service operation, and that service operation would actually labeled service operation would able to uh, help you to extract out some WSDL slice. And then the second approach that we proposed for the service evolution analytics is the four service evolution matrix that actually helps you do the study of cloud service evolution, and that could help you deduce some facts about the version series. Then we built the tool that is we termed as AWSCM Awesome, that actually supports some change and evolution mining part for the evolving distributed system. Then the service evolution analytics, we can say it as the service evolution analytics uh, could be represented with some model like this, that the repository of the distributed system, evolving distributed system was being collected. We can have WSDL, WSDL code, and other artifacts as well. And then this whole thing was being uh, analyzed with the help of some tool that we termed as AWSCM, which contains change mining and evolution mining approaches for analyzing the evolving distributed system. So the change mining would be like the service change classifier that could have two versions, and that could actually help you do the analysis of evolving distributed system with the help of WSDL and web service code. Then evolving mining basically helps you do the service evolution matrix for the version series analysis and evolving distributed system analysis with some WSDL and WSDL code. So in the change mining, we generated subset operations to generate the slice of WSDL that we termed as subset WSDL. Then evolution mining was being done for with the help of service evolution matrix that actually help you generate the service evolution information and over the time series. That the tool that we had developed is having this type of phase. First we developed it in the development phase, then we tested it in the testing phase. So in the development phase we collected various versions of cloud services with WSDL and WS code that were being used to develop that were used for the development data, and then some of the unused version of the cloud services are being used for the testing of that data. So that in that way we had developed and tested the various phase, the two phases of the tool. Then the starting at the time t means this time was for the development phase, and it run till the time t2. Then the subsequent testing phase would take place from T2 to T1 plus T2 to that would run for the time T3. This time was for the T3, and that is testing time. And we assume that the both would phase would take at, at least at the end T1 plus T2 plus T3 time. Then the change mining for the two versions. So these are the service change classification. Like blue would actually represent modified part. green would actually represent added part, and red would actually represent deleted part. So the service version 1 is being changed to the service version 2, and they have the operation 11, operation 13, operation 11, operation 12. So this is just an example illustration that how the changes would look like in the web service, and the methods was being called, and another web service operation was being called. So the version 1 is being changed to version 2. Next, this is software as a service version 1 that we developed by ourselves, that have the searching operation that could first do the indexing of the words or the information of the files, and then it can do the searching of those files in the database, and then it helps you to read the file internally. So there is a small modification done at the code of the searching operation. This was being represented like this. Blue part was being represented as modified, and then the two operation edit and edit file was being added. So green part was being represented. So this is version 1 to version 2 change. Similarly, some book service was being also being developed by us, and these are the three different operations that was being added and been modified. So these three was been modified. So this is why it is represented as blue as a represent modification. Then change mining of the two versions uh, could be V old and V new could be denoted. And this is the evolving distributed system algorithm one would take the WSDL old and web service code old versions and new versions of WSDL new and WS code for new version. Then the algorithm 2 of service change classifier was being applied, and it will generate operation label that each operation would have some labels, and the operations are like procedures and methods in simple programming. But in web services, these procedure and method becomes operations because these operations are being exposed to the world for using them. So the operations are being labeled as changed, whether it's modified or some added or some deleted. Then each of the operations in the operation label, this operation label, we generate some subset operation, and that subset operation would actually help you do the generation of the WSDL slice with the algorithm 3. So the WSDL new version was being used along with subset operations in the algorithm 3 WSDL slicing, and that algorithm will generate WSDL slice. So this is the algorithm for the change mining of web service that we were discussing. It is taking WSDL old, WSDL new, web service code old and new. Then it is using service change classifier, which is this algorithm. And this algorithm again taking the same input, and it will taking the generating the semantic code difference and semantic WSDL difference to get the changes in the WS code, web service code, and WSDL descriptive language changes. Then the initialization of the array was being done, and various operation labels are being assigned for each operation. Then WSDL changes are being mentioned with the operation jth, whether it's inserted, whether that operation was being deleted, whether that operation will be modified. So this type of labeling we did. Then after this, web service code change labeling was also being done. Means whether that operational are inserted, whether these operational code changes are being deleted, whether these operational code changes are being modified or not. So this will generate operation label uh, the the output, and that contains operation name, means some procedure function name, as well as labels, whether it's modified, inserted, deleted. And then this will go to the this subset operation was being generated, initialized. Subset operation was being initialized, and this operation j means in every op level, means this op level, and then the jth operation was being used. If that operation j is being inserted or modified, Then that jth operation was being used with the subset operation, and that subset operation will go inside this third algorithm, that is WSDL slicing, along with WSDL new. So what it will do, it will do the construction of various part of web service descriptive language. So it's like a web service is there which has been exposed to the world, and they have some interface as output, and these are various parts of the web service descriptive language, and these parts actually been combined together, and some subset operation was being used to merging those WSDL, and these operations are required to construct these WSDL slice, and that WSDL slice was being constructed, and the slicing of start definition, slicing of sub XSD, slicing of messaging, slicing of port, slicing of binding, slicing of service, slicing of end definition been done. And you have different parts of the slices of the new WSDL, and you combine all of them and concatenate like a string, and then you can generate the WSDL slice as the output. Then the second proposed approach is evolution mining of version series for the service evolution matrix. So we defined these four parameters, means four different matrix based upon different parameters, like line per operation in the WSDL we defined, parameter per operation in the WSDL we defined. So here basically number of source line of WSDL of version I was being divided by number of operations in the version I. That will actually give lines per operation in the given WJ. So based upon this, we can write version 1 has this much matrix value. Version ith have this much matrix value. Version nth would have this much version value. Similarly, parameters per operation in the WSDL. So the number of parameters in the WSDL for the version I divided by the number of operation for the version I would actually give you parameter per operations. That could be defined like with as a series, like PO could be defined like for version 1 PO1, for version BI actually POI, for version BN PON. Then you have the message per operation. So number of messages in the WSDL for the version ith divided by the number of operation in the version. That could have the message per operation, and this could be defined like for the version 1, the MO1 could be generated, then version ith would have the MOI, and version nth would have MON, means message per operation nth. Then code of line per operation in the WSDL could be like number of code lines in the WSDL code in the version I divided by number of operations in version I. So the this will actually could be written at for the version 1 you have WSCLO version for I for 1, then VI for WSCLO I, and VN for the WSCLO N. Why we are writing like this for different versions, version 1 to version N, so that we can create some graph, and we'll see how we created the graph very soon. And this is what we can say as service evolution matrix. So this is service evolution matrix, SEMVILO WSDL POMO WSCLO for the ith, and this I varies from 1 to n, and this will actually, like they have the for the evolving distributed system, you have different versions, and for each version you have four different parameters, these parameters, and you can define those four parameters for different versions over I varying from 1 to n. So this is what is service evolution matrix. And this service evolution matrix would actually help you generate the graph over time. And that graph over time would actually help you do the prediction. We'll see the case study for that. So the first experiment was being done for the change analysis. So the change analysis, that SaaS book service that we discussed, Eucalyptus and Amazon Web Service AWS. So we generated difference WSDL and unit WSDL, which is a kind of subset WSDL. You have to go to read more in detail in the research paper about them. That these are being generated, and this unit WSDL was not being generated because AWS code was not being known, and we collected this information. These two are self-made, these two are GitHub available. So this type of changes, specific WSDL changes was being generated, like the operations modified, like modified name node was being inserted, migrate instance operation was being inserted. Then schema means data structure, this type of data structure of that web service was being changed. Then these operations were being, the described public address was being deleted from May 15th, means May 2015 Eucalyptus CCWSDL to December 16th Eucalyptus CCWSDL. So this operation was being deleted and attached network interface operation is being added. And this type of changes was being done at the data structure, means input output schema level, means CT detach volume response, uh, complex type, that response type was being inserted, and complex type CC instance type was being modified. So this type of changes was being done. Similarly, for the Amazon Web Service Elastic Compute Cloud, these are the operations which were being inserted, described, reversed, instance modified from February 2013 to August 2013. Then the operation that was being inserted is accept VC peer connection inserted. So similarly, you can study about them in more detail if you wish. Then this type of parameter that we were talking from this experiment, that these type of matrix could help you generate this type of graphs, means LOWSDL matrix for the different versions at different time points. And you can have this type of plotting of curve. And with this curve, you can do the predictions. Like in the case of various graph plotted, and you can do the predictions. So this type of graph would be plotted with the four metrics that we propose in service evolution matrix, that LO, WSDL, PO, WSLO, MO. So this is how you can compare and analyze. Then what is the conclusion from this approach? That it is basically defining change mining and evolution mining for the evolving distributed system. What are the two different approaches that we said? A service change classifier algorithm we defined to actually help you do the analysis based upon some uh, change levels. And the second one is the four matrix that we generated. So the four matrix that we generated was like uh, based upon some parameters of WSDL lines of code, parameters inside the input output things in the messages in the WSDL and web services. So this would help you deduce some facts and about the different versions. And this service change classifier would help you generate the WSDL slice. And four evolution matrix would help you deduce the facts about the version series. Then we also proposed a service evolution analytics model, that, and second we defined a tool for this as AWSCM. Then four case studies we discussed to construct the WSDL slice, and four on the four different web services. Then we demonstrated service change classifier ability to do the help you do the reduced regression testing and service evolution matrix analysis. And this could also be helpful uh, for various type of predictions that could be done for the regression testing, and do the QoS analysis, means quality of service analysis, to maintain the quality of service that is required to maintain the service level agreement. So this regression testing, subset regression testing, could save you the cost that is required to do the full regression testing. So this subset WSDL or subset web WSDL slice would help you do the subsets regression testing, and that would actually help you to minimize the cost for doing the quality of service maintenance, and that would also help you do the service level agreement maintenance. And we did all these things on the four different web services, and one two of them are the well-known cloud services, that is Eucalyptus Cluster Controller and Amazon Web Service EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. So thanks. I hope that you had enjoyed this part of topic, and see you next. Bye.